Hello everyone. It is May 17, 2018. I haven't done a video in a while. I'm kind of waiting for some things to fall into place. And really I want to take this opportunity to give an update on the year so far. I have a lot of stuff to talk about, so this might be a little bit longer a video than normal. Let's get the most obvious thing out of the way. We haven't started this whole thing, which is the phage therapy. So just to recap, back in January, I was kind of teetering in the 40s and low 50s. About 20 days after that, I showed a 9% increase with the phage therapy. And I even saw my clinic at National Jewish in that time. And I said, hey, I'm doing this phage therapy, and I had a 9% increase. I did a video on this where they were interested, but maybe not all in yet. And I had just had another appointment a few weeks ago, where now instead of a 9% increase, I had over a 30% increase. And then now it's like, whoa, 30%. To recap, what that really means is in the last 3 years, I have lost 30% of my lung function. I have gained all of that back and then some by a small degree in 4 months. So that is so huge. That's the one thing I really want people to hear. I've regained more than I've lost in 4 months. I've gained more in 4 months than I've lost over the last 3 years. Huge. So the phage is just incredible. I'm actually on a cycle right now. I'll go into that, why I started that. Other things I've started. I did Symdeko. I did a video on that a while ago. I've been on it for 2 months. And to be really honest, I don't feel it's done anything. I haven't felt any changes. Only thing that has happened in the last 2 months is my stomach has just been worse than ever. I haven't had stomach problems like this in over 1.5 years. So I've been off of Symdeko for a couple weeks and my stomach is so much better. So my lung function is holding and my stomach is better. So I'd say once again, these CF modulators are a bust for me. And I hope they are working for other people, but they are not my body just doesn't want to agree with them. So unfortunately, I'm taking a break from Symdeko. Really want to see how I do off of the drug for longer than a couple weeks. See if I really start to regress in a month or so, but I already feel better. I have more energy, just generally feel better. So yeah, Symdeko's a bust for me. I'd like to go out and research people who it's done well for. Of course, all the medical journals posted by Vertex seem like there are positive changes, but I'm not really seeing that by CF patients. Anything really positive and dramatic. I want to talk about another treatment that I had been doing during this time. It is called mild silver protein. It's not colloidal silver. It is a high-grade form, almost a raw form of silver, which is very highly potent. And I did a video on a while ago about how I used it to clear up a sinus infection in a couple of days. And then now I've been nebulizing it. I do it while I do phage treatment. And if I'm not having a lot of sputum production, I might just do silver, nebulize it for like 5 days or so. If I'm feeling a little something like little congestion coming on, but really no green or highly productive stuff, I'll do that and it seems to clear it up. It also has this soothing effect. So when I nebulize or even put the nasal spray of silver, it seems to really calm the inflammation. And it has this anti-inflammatory soothing effect. So I even actually feel good and open when I do silver. So I can't tell, since I've been doing it with the phage, at least nebulizing it, I just think it increases the efficacy of the phage itself. It's another great tool to my arsenal. And it's so mild. Like I like this, it's mild silver protein, but it really just seems to be easy to handle in my system. Unlike IV antibiotics or even Symdeko for that matter. It's just another alternative, simple thing that has been really working for me. So yeah, mild silver protein. You gotta check that stuff out. It's great. I really like the sinus spray. The silver sinus spray is just awesome. I can really feel it working. If I have a sinus infection, I can feel it working within a couple days, getting all the extra junk out. You can tell the silver is kind of mixed in there, breaking stuff up. So yeah, this stuff, it's good. The other thing, this has been huge for me. So with just malabsorption in general, you could take all the oral vitamin supplements I want, I could, and really just pee it out. I don't feel I absorb those things. And sometimes they even give me a stomach ache. So I may have talked about this in a prior video, I don't recall, but I had started doing IV infusions with vitamins, specifically the Myers cocktail. It's got a bunch of great stuff in it, but it's got a lot of magnesium, calcium, vitamin B, selenium, a lot of the other type of basic vitamins. And that stuff makes me feel incredible. I'll really feel it. I go in for an infusion, and a couple days later, I'm lit in a good way. I have so much energy, and it lasts me about a month. And once that month tails off, I really feel it. I drag. I kind of feel how I always have when I was just taking like oral vitamins, just never quite getting enough of what I needed to sustain me. And yeah, I want anyone out there who just drags an energy, you're fatigued, you don't know why, maybe you're taking vitamins, I say this is worth trying. Finding someone who can get you an IV vitamin infusion. I do the Myers cocktail, and maybe you talk to someone who knows their stuff and they'll recommend something different. But what a change it's made for me. Huge. So I just did one a couple days ago. I was dragging last week and like, oh, I feel so bad. Oh yeah, I got to schedule that IV infusion. And now I'm back. So that's so great. I love it. Definitely one of the most expensive treatments. Like Phage costs me $55 a treatment cycle. And the IV infusions are quite a bit more. But for how it makes me feel, how much energy, how much more I get done, how much clearer I think. Get rid of that fogginess. I sleep better. I wake up better. I last into the evening longer. It's just all good. Try it. Update on my National Jewish appointment I had a few weeks ago that I mentioned. So I went there for a very specific reason. So there's research out there that proves that phage treatments with antibiotics have this really strong compounding effect. I don't want to do IV antibiotics if I don't need to. I beat that dead horse a lot about why I don't do IVs unless absolutely necessary. So inhaled meropenem, which one happens to be the antibiotics that work against my strain of Cepacia, that's sensitive, and second, it's been recently put into a nebulized, I don't know if it's been recently, but it's growing in popularity to nebulize meropenem. So you still get the drug directly into the lungs where they need to be without all the drastic side effects. I'm sure it will have some side effects, but nowhere near as putting it directly through all your organs in your system and having it wipe everything out, right? So it took me a long time to get this scheduled. I couldn't get it done locally, so I had to go do this in Denver. We finally got it scheduled. And I flew out to Denver just to do this challenge. So the idea, now that since I am allergic or have been allergic, I've always had to do those desensitizations to IV drugs. Well, I wanted to do a challenge, which means give me the drug without all the all the prepping so you don't have a reaction, and just give it to you in small doses and see if I can handle it. Well, it went really well. I went there, did the inhale. They give you a small dose first, and then they give you a full dose, and you wait there for several hours, seeing if you have a reaction. And it went great, no problem. So it's like, okay, awesome. I was starting to feel sick, starting to get some crud coming up. And it's like, okay, great timing. I'm going to start a phage and then get the medication. So I really need to get on it. So I started the phage while trying to get the drug. And turns out my insurance doesn't cover that, the inhaled. It's not approved by the FDA yet. So something I really should have checked beforehand. It just goes to show how complicated some of these things can be. The drug would cost me $1,000 or something for a month's supply. No, I'm not doing that. So the pharmacy that I get this medication from has some ways to work around that, but it takes time. So I may not get this medication, and by the way, I might get it at no cost, but there's this process you have to follow like everything else. So I may not get the inhaled meropenem for a couple months. So I'm about to hold off on the whole synergy effect of the antibiotics and the phage. Just relying on the phage and the mild silver protein right now, still awesome alternatives, even without the antibiotics. But I'm really looking forward to that. Back to my appointment, the actual follow-up with my doctor. The nurse, it's kind of funny, the nurse is like, have you seen your lung function results? I'm like, oh yeah, I've seen them. I know where they're at. All of a sudden, I'm up 30+%. And I wasn't even as high as I was because I'd been traveling, starting to feel some congestion effects, and still in the high 60s, which was a huge improvement for me. The last time I did it, when I was feeling at my best, I got it here. I blew a 72.6%. And my peak flow was over 100. I was 105.5%. Just big numbers for me and feeling so good. So I even dropped a little bit, and it was still impressive numbers. This time, the doctors and the entire staff there were like, what is this phage? So I actually brought several vials for them. I said, here you go. I'm handing these off to you. They are yours to do your testing. So we took some sputum cultures. I had to, you still have to fill out a form that they're going to test whatever, DNA, whatever. So that is happening now. It's active. They've got everything they need. They've got the paperwork signed. They've got the phage. They've got sputum cultures, and they are running some tests on this. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I will be getting some information. I think it's going to be super positive. I mean, how dramatic it's been for me, I like to see it in the lab, and with someone who's more impartial. It's not a placebo effect. You don't go up 30% with a placebo effect. So really excited about that. And as soon as I get some a white paper or even some sort of a verbal communication, I'll do a video on that and share that. I had a few questions from people following my videos, and I try to answer them as they come along. Unfortunately, those who are out of the U.S. are in countries where they just can't get the phage mailed to them. There's all the regulations about mailing in things like that. So that's so unfortunate, but they still have options. They can still go there. They can still go to Tbilisi, and I know that's not always cost effective, but if the U.S. wouldn't have allowed me to do the phage treatment here and get it shipped, I would have been in Georgia. I would have made that work. What it's done for me, for those of you out there who are on the fence, just make it happen. Call them, talk to them. I'm sure they have ways to help you get there. It's so worth it. And one of the questions I had is someone mentioned that they were having heard of bleeding with the phage. So I will say I've never had lung bleeds. I've always had my typical streaking at times, but not. The only bleeding I had was when I dropped it directly into my sinuses, and anything I put, Flonase and Rhinocort and Nasacort, all those things that are supposed to be anti-inflammatory, they just wreck me. I don't just bleed. Globs of blood come out when I do those things. And even with the phage, I wasn't even bleeding that bad. It was just noticeable. So even then, the phage was still less damaging than those other things. But as far as nebulizing it, I've never had problems with it. In fact, it feels good. It feels good to get that stuff loose and it starts coming out. It's green, it's nasty. If I ever have blood, it's because it's, usually attached to some sort of plug. I can tell like some of that stuff gets lodged in there. When it dislodges, it's been there a while, and then it irritates the flesh, the linings, and might bleed a little bit. But we're talking minor stuff. And once the stuff's out, I have no problems. I I've started another phage cycle. I'm not as crazy about checking my lung function every day now. Now that I know how I feel, I kind of check it more in the beginning and at the end to see how I'm doing. And then even after a phage cycle, I wait, because even after the 8 days of the treatment, it still works inside. It's still working, doing its thing. So I'll probably do another really good test here in a week or so, and really blow really hard and see if I can get some good numbers, see if those have gone up. So that's most of the things I want to talk about. I think I mentioned, the improvement, but think about where I was in January, not just low lung function. I was sleeping a lot. So I was sleeping 14, 15 hours a night, just of pure exhaustion, and then still taking 2-3 hour naps. I felt so bad. I was just sleeping and sleeping. I couldn't do anything. I could barely do my laundry, could barely do dishes without getting exhausted. Keeping up with the kids was so hard. I felt so bad. I just couldn't go to all their things. At nighttime, it was just like, I'll sit on the couch, I'll read you a book. I couldn't play with them. I wasn't running errands with them. It was really hard. So this is a really big piece of news. So, I'm a software developer by profession. I've been doing it for 15 years, specifically as an engineer. And the last couple of years, as in these videos have shown, I've been having a lot of problems. And I really love the company I work for. They have been so gracious to me this whole time. I've had to take a lot of time off. I've been in the hospital, and they've always just worked with me and made it work so I could still get my work done. They've just been so supportive, not just in front of the career, but personally as well, helped me get through this time. Well, in January, when I was going through all that low period, I was like, I really need to take time off. Not just work with the situation, but take time off of work. And I did that. I went on short-term disability. And it really, I think part of this improvement has to do with maybe not working as well. So yeah, the phage is great, but not working has given me time to focus on it. And after my short-term ended, I decided that this is what I need to be doing. I need to be not working full-time. So I need to be taking care of myself, focusing on my family. So I have retired. I've gone on medical retirement. And it's one of the greatest decisions I think I could have made. I miss working to a point. I always liked working. And I will be doing consulting work for this company. I'm still welcome there. They still want me to be around, which is great. So I'll be doing some consulting on a limited basis, working with them to help, bring in a little extra income on top of what I get for disability and all that. So really excited about that. No regrets. I know it's the right decision. There's that point where it's like, oh man, you're not gonna, you're not gonna have the full-time income. How are you going to pay for insurance? How are you going to support the family? All those things, and we just, my wife and I, and my group of administrators for my medical stuff, everyone just teamed together, helped me figure out how to get through it, and it's been awesome. So I guess I'm officially retired in a sense, and I do some consulting, but that's the extent of it. It's the fact that I can take my kids to school every day, pick them up every day, go to all their things, get as many treatments in as I need every day, take a nap if I need to. I mean, all those things have just made a huge difference on my well-being. So that's it. That's where I'm at right now as of May. It's been a really great year. Despite being the sickest I've ever been to now being kind of the healthiest I've been in a very long time. A lot of factors contributing to that. All right, thanks for watching. And again, questions, hit me up in the comments, and I'll get back to you. See ya.